first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello and welcome back to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. There is a live look from our ski bowl camera there up on Mount Hood, taking a look at the wilderness. All the snow's gone from right there. If you are a frequent watcher, you know that's a little bit different there in the winter. But man, it looks so nice out there. I want to get out into the woods. I want to go camping. A lot of people do, but there are some things you should know. And we're going to get into that today. Again, this is Fox 12 Now. We live stream here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom every weekday starting around 1 p.m. And we go throughout the afternoon and we cover a wide range of topics. So I always like to just make sure people know that. Plenty of different things you can take a look at there on the Fox 12 Oregon app. Right now, we're talking about fire restrictions, campfire restrictions, and more that you should know if you're going to be getting out there into the woods, particularly in Northwest Oregon, where some wildfire or campfire restrictions have been increased. And we're going to talk all about that right now, because joining us, we have a wildfire prevention specialist, Adam Johnson. And Adam, thank you very much for being here today. I'll just say for everybody watching, I want to go camping here. I go camping quite a bit myself, maybe even this weekend, but sometime here in the next couple of weeks. And so this is something I think is important for everybody to know and always review. No matter how much you go, it's important to review and understand, you know, what the restrictions are and how to be safe out there. We're going to get into that, but could you give everybody just a definition too here for the Bureau of Land Management, which is what put out some of these new restrictions, and just what really that encompasses here for Northwest Oregon?
Well, Greg, thanks for having me. So we're starting to see an increased fire risk across the landscape. And so we've elevated our fire restrictions to the level 2 restrictions, which essentially bans campfires. So that's the big difference between the level 1 and level 2 fire restrictions for the BLM, is that we're going to prohibit campfires just altogether, all the way across all of our lands in the Northwest Oregon district. And our district is quite large. So it's going to be south of the Columbia River, all the way down to the Lane, Douglas County line, and then everything west of the Cascade Mountain Range. And now that's just BLM land. So each agency has different fire restrictions, but this is just applicable to the BLM lands, kind of in that greater area.
Okay, and when we're talking about BLM lands, how, and generally speaking, how would one know whether they're on BLM land or another organization?
So it's very tricky in the Northwest Oregon district because there's quite a bit of land ownership, and the land for the BLM is very checkerboarded. And so it kind of looks just like a checkerboard. There's big squares out there that are BLM adjacent to private or Forest Service or just other lands. And so I'd highly recommend the public visit the BLM Oregon Washington Fire website, and they'd be able to kind of tease out where they're standing, where they're at, to become very familiar on where they're going to go recreate over the weekend.
And the BLM lands, these are places where people can go camp or hike or different, you know, recreate, as you mentioned.
So in Western Oregon, it's very unique. Some of the areas are gated, some of them are not. And so if people are looking for specific areas to recreate, I'd highly recommend them reach out to the BLM for areas that are kind of unique and they could go recreate at. They could reach out to the BLM recreation staff to figure out exactly where those unique locations are. Yeah.
What are some common forms of recreation that people have on BLM land?
I mean, a lot of people enjoy the camping, fishing, OHVs. They also go out and just whatever. I mean, it's lands for multiple, so target shooting, whatever they need.
And with these updates, I think it looks like we've got some hikers on the background of the screen right now. In the backdrop, for people who are out there on, you know, this land with these updated restrictions, can we walk through that? You know, what has been restricted and what this upgraded restriction really means?
So I think the most important thing to note is both Oregon and Washington have a district-wide fire prevention order in effect right now. And so that includes exploding targets, steel ammunition, sky lanterns, fireworks. Those are going to be banned for an extended period of time. They are allowed on the shoulder season and during the winter when the fire risk is extremely low, but right now those are currently banned. So there's the greater Oregon-Washington fire restrictions in effect. And then getting to the district level, they're just specific to the area kind of identified. So you can't have campfires. If you wanted to have a stove, those are permitted, like a gas stove with a shutoff valve, that's permitted. We request that people smoke inside their vehicles. That's the safest place to do that. If you need to smoke outside of your vehicle, you'd have to do it where it's bare, like no flammable vegetation. So if like any of your cigarette drops on the ground, it wouldn't start anything there. We do have two OHV areas that have restrictions. So that would be the Shotgun and Upper Nestucca OHV area. Those have restrictions in place there for folks using, dirt bikes and UTVs and whatnot. There's restrictions there, and those are tied to adjective ratings. And so at low and moderate, they're allowed to do it. And then at high, they're limited from 8 p.m. to 1 p.m. So during the highest peak of the fire danger, we request folks not use their OHVs.
And that's
kind of moving on.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, and that's because of the risk of those engines starting something on fire, essentially.
Yeah, so essentially between 1 p.m. and 8 p.m., you're going to have an elevated fire risk, and we just want people to be extremely cautious during that period. So we ask them, and it's specified in the order that you do not ride during that period of time. This is because the fire risk is so high between 1 and 8 p.m. in the afternoon. I guess the big thing is if you have any vehicles operating in the woods, we request that you carry a shovel, a gallon of water, or a 2.5-pound fire extinguisher in the event you do cause a fire. I think the most important thing, Greg, here is that if you were to start a fire, please just dial 911. Give the dispatcher the best location you possibly can and kind of give them a quick size up of what's happening. Is your vehicle on fire? Has it spread into the brush? There's that. I guess the last couple ones is just chainsaws are prohibited, so you can't operate a chainsaw any longer. So if there's a log or something in your way, you'll just have to notify the BLM that a log's blocking the road, and we'll come out there and address it. Welding and grinding is also prohibited. And then lastly, any kind of vehicle needs to have in either a factory installed muffler for just a normal vehicle, or if it's an OHV or a motorcycle or ATV, it needs to have a U.S. Forest Service approved spark arrestor equipped on that piece of vehicle.
So good things to know, yeah, for everybody out there. And I think that, the shovel side of things too. So is this, if you're going to be operating your vehicle off of a main road, or is this just if you're in BLM land in general, you should have that shovel?
So in BLM land in general, yes, you need to have a shovel, a gallon of water, or a fire extinguisher and a shovel.
Okay, so very good for people to know that and to make sure that you have all of that. What are some of the biggest, I guess, what would you say are the top 3 things that people need to be aware of when they're heading into BLM land or just out in general into the wilderness in Oregon?
So I'd highly recommend people either visit the land office that you want to go recreate on. So whether that's state land or BLM land or Forest Service land, go get a map to figure out exactly where you're at. And then beforehand, look at the fire restrictions that are in place for that land, so you can become familiar with what's the requirement there. So it's pretty unique in Western Oregon, like I'd mentioned. Each agency has their own fire restrictions, and they may slightly differ. So it's really important to be educated on what fire restrictions you need to adhere to. Make sure your vehicle is in good working order. So make sure that that it's full of coolant and it's equipped with that shovel and fire extinguisher. Make sure that your vehicle isn't going to start a fire. Make sure your muffler's intact. Those are the big things. And then the biggest thing is if you accidentally start a fire, please notify 911 that you've accidentally started a fire.
Yeah, notify them immediately. I think one other thing I just wanted to check in on too, because we kind of talked about it, or you mentioned something, but when it comes to target practice or shooting, a lot of people like to go out and go shooting. What are some of the restrictions associated with that they should really know?
So I would recommend that they visit the website and really become familiar with that Oregon-Washington fire prevention order that targets just that, the shooting. So make sure that you've read that, you fully understand that. I even highly recommend reaching out to the BLM recreation staff to determine where's a good location that you can shoot, because it's legal on BLM lands, and you'd want to find the ideal location. And then just make sure if you are target practicing, you're doing it in an area free of flammable vegetation. So make sure there's no grass or brush or even needle casts or leaves that could potentially easily ignite.
Yeah, very important to know that, because that could easily start a fire as well. Well, this is all great information, and you mentioned contacting the organization of the area that you're going to be going into. Is there a good website or place that people can go to as well to find out some of this information?
Yeah, I would start at the BLM Oregon, or the Northwest Oregon District website. The BLM has a website. It's really useful. It's got the key numbers on there where folks can reach out or email, and we'll respond to those emails or phone calls.
Cool. All right. Well, Adam, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time and joining us here just to help, again, get this word out for everybody who likes to enjoy the wilderness here. But we can all agree fires are not good. So let's do everything possible to prevent those. So thank you very much, Adam. Thanks for being here on Fox 12 Now.
Thanks, Greg.
And for everybody watching, we are live streaming here. We've got lots of things that we've covered here today. Our previous segment, we were talking about tsunami evacuation zones and how you can create a custom map for whatever your address is if you're over there on the coast or a place you're going to stay. So that's a segment that you can go check out there on the Fox 12 Oregon app. It'll be up soon right there, along with all of our other segments. But thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate it. We will be back here at 2:30 talking about something else completely different. But you'll have to join me then. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.